Now, let me tell you this, ladies, that a good juicy pot is not about the literal juicy pot itself. In my opinion, it refers to the quality of the person, not just the sex. Good sex and good pum-pum are not the same thing. How good the pum-pum feels is subjective. When it comes to wetness, moderation is optimum. Now, not all coochies are created equal. I'll tell you what makes a good juicy pot good. There's more to it than just the physical. And it's not necessarily about the tightness. Now, if you want to know what makes a juicy pot good, here it is. It is the woman on which that juicy pot is attached to. Listen to this fact, ladies. Men care 1000% more about a woman's enthusiasm, open-mindedness, attitude, personality, and so on and so forth than they care about the actual coochie itself. They care about how you're working that body that carries that juicy pot, what you're cooking inside that pot, how you make them feel inside that pot, how you're gripping your joystick intermittently while they drive through that tunnel. How you make him feel, how you make him go crazy by calling him daddy. It's all about the attitude you come to bed with. Your goddess-like aura, your presence, your essence, your enthusiasm, your cleanliness. I bet if you got 100 women to talk about what they think makes for a good juicy pot, quite frankly, tightness would rank the top of it, if not close to it. But from what I have heard, talking to countless guys out there, tightness in and of itself is not synonymous with a great feeling coochie. Now, in fact, being too tight can be a problem because it sometimes makes the friction from penetration uncomfortable and unpleasant for both parties. For some guys, as hard as it might be to believe, what makes a good juicy pot has nothing to do with the physical. For them, it's all about the mental and emotional connection. That's the secret ingredient to what makes it different and better than any other coochie he's ever had. So when you feel a deep, profound emotional connection with someone, you're more likely to feel comfortable sharing your authentic self without fear of judgment. This in turn enables greater sexual exploration and leads to a more powerful sexual experience between you and your man, or between your man and you. And yes, there is no denying the fact that the non-physical matters, but it's a combination of wetness, tightness, and friction as far as the reaping of the juicy pot canal goes for men. Now, I have heard a guy say that the first girl he had sex with was perfect, wetness-wise, but she was a little loose for his liking and was smoother inside. Then the second girl he slept with was great, tightness-wise and friction-wise, but she had some serious issues getting wet. Finally, what sealed his search for him was the third girl who he slept with and now has become his wife. She had just the perfect combination of all three for him. So it's really just a personal preference. Now, while a non-physical connection is nice and all of that, we must acknowledge that physical aspects of sex also matters a great deal. Because if they didn't, the whole concept of what constitutes a good coochie would be lost. It would be lost. And most guys who have been with numerous women can attest to the fact that not all juicy pot feels the same sensation-wise. Some women feel grippy down there, while others are less likely to get wet. Even the inner walls feel different from woman to woman, in a sense that you could feel the ribbed contours of the coochie walls in some women, while in others it feels smoother. And then there is the coochie canal. Even with that, there are distinctive differences from woman to woman. Some women feel narrow at the entrance, but become more accommodating inside. Almost like there is a mini chasm inside, hidden inside. while others feel narrow and snug all the way through. So there is also the factor of body heat. Not everyone is going to radiate the same body temperature, and how hot or cool you run can invariably influence the sensation of heat emanating from your genitals. Now, don't even get me started on the scent. Let's just say healthy coochie all smell somewhat similar, but then there shouldn't be any strong, unpleasant odor. The point I'm trying to make here is that just as men's joysticks come in all shapes, size, and scent, the same can be said for the pum-pum. Now, how good the pum-pum feels is subjective, though I would say men, by and large, rate good pum-pum as being not too loose, because you end up not feeling much, not too tight, as that can cause much friction, which hurts. And of course, it's worth keeping in mind that the feel-good factor of any Juicypot. And then when it comes to wetness, moderation is optimum, because being on either side of too wet or too dry will have the same effect of being too loose or too tight. Again, I want to make it clear. That all of this is tied to the man that you're with. Every guy will differ in what they consider too much or too little and just right. Can also vary even in the same person. Mood, hormones, stress levels, and levels of arousal are some factors that can wax and wane over time as we age. So expecting every sexual experience to be out of this world will be unrealistic. However, we can't deny the fact that some women have the it factor, the tightness, the warmth, the wetness. And I don't know how to describe this with words that currently exist in the English language, but there is a wet coochie and then there is a wet coochie. They both feel good, but the feeling of the second one, some men will tell you that they just can't compare, and they often liken good sex to dancing. And a good dance partner does three main things. They communicate well, non-verbally. They have strong sense of rhythm, and they can synchronize their movement with your partners. Synchronicity in sex is very, very crucial, very, very important. If you can master that with your partner, then you guys will always be in sync and it will be crazy. Sex will be crazy between both of you. Synchronicity. Not a lot of people understand what synchronicity is. It is moving in the same rhythm and pattern. You know your place, as in, like you're matching his energy, thrust to thrust, depth to depth, shallow to shallow. You know the rhythm, you know the consistency to consistency, rhythm to rhythm, pattern to pattern. So essentially, to be a great sex partner, one has to master the sexual dance, follow or match the rhythm, be in sync with each other. So the idea of being a passive participant is not an option to be, if you want to be a good sexual goddess. And to be an amazing sexual dancer, you both have to be proactive. A lot of women are not able to grasp how critical this is to making a man feel like your coochie is the best thing he has ever tried or had since sliced bread. See, when you confidently grind, swirl, and thrust your hips while riding and squeezing on his junk with your sugar walls, as well as moan the way that he likes, that alone can be enough to send him over the edge. But combine that with non-physical connection plus the physical characteristics of the coochie, which we've discussed earlier, and you're just about guaranteed to create the zenith of sexual ecstasy. And that right there is the it factor. Or as men put it, the wet vagina. Now, let me tell you this, ladies, that a good Juicypot is not about the literal Juicypot itself. In my opinion, it refers to the quality of the person, not just the sex. Good sex and good pum-pum are not the same thing. Good sex can be had with anybody. Good pum-pum comes from a genuine connection, not only to the pum-pum, but to the woman it is attached to. Now, I need to reiterate this again before I wrap it up here. The great thing is any woman can have a good pom-pom regardless of age, orientation, or past experiences. Now, throwing aside any innate physical characteristics that cannot be changed, and even the physical characteristics of a juicy pot are so varied and different, there is always a subset of guys who would love what you have. There is still so much that can influence your man to think you're the best he's ever had. You could start by building upon the emotional connection above all else. And also remember that there is a reason why some of the best sex can be found in a long-term committed relationship, much more than in a casual hookup. Commitment breeds familiarity and comfort. And these are qualities that enhance sexual intimacy. Sexual confidence is another big one. Without it, how else will you be able to communicate desires or give feedback or become proactive about sexual performance and exploration? Tell me, how else? Plus, let's not forget about maintaining good hygiene, grooming, and health. If you're already taking care of all of the things that I mentioned, all right, more likely you already have what guys call good pum-pum. And that's on period. That's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. And there ain't no hard or fast rule about that. Your pum-pum is good. Okay, this is where we wrap it all up, and I will come your way same time tomorrow. No leave, no transfer. We're right here. We're going to be dishing out hot content for you day by day as the day goes by. Don't you forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a video here. I'm always going to be constant right here on this channel as long as I have live. Mwah!